San Franciscans recalled the 3 school board directors in landslide, with Asian parents running in the front line.
Department of Defense bought billions of dollars of COVID test boxes from a Chinese company.
How has CCP's move into the U.S. Biopharm and Genomics domain? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wei and Kathy Show. I'm your host, Wei Fang.
And I'm Kathy Zhang.
All right, so the first piece of news has to do with the San Francisco recall, which has been pretty much rocking the whole nation. And this is San Francisco, where we are in.
Right.
And Kathy and I, we went to vote yesterday, right? No, the day before? Yesterday? Yesterday.
Yesterday was the voting
day.
The election day. So
and you think it's Kathy and Wei's vote that caused that to happen?
well,
like
no
to
matter
think so, but
no matter what, the preliminary the recall election result has come out. So if you are not familiar with the situation, just a little bit background, the San Francisco voters has successfully put on a recall of 3 school board members on this special election, which was held yesterday, February 15th, to recall 3 school board members, including the president of the board. Mm-hmm. So let's see the preliminary result from the San Francisco Department of Election. So overwhelmingly, the voters just want to remove these 3. So as of this afternoon, nearly 75% of voters support the recall of the San Francisco School Board President, Gabriela Lopez. More than 72% supported the recall of a board vice president, Fagar Moliga, and almost 79% support the recall of a board member, Allison Collins.
Mm-hmm. So actually, altogether, there are 7 commissioners in the school board. Those are the 3 that they can pick that get qualified to be recalled.
Yeah, the other 4 was not on the list because that actually is not that the voters do not want to recall some of them. It was because they are too new to be recalled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, the message is loud and clear and unambiguous. And they'll be gone. So what's the result of that? The mayor will be appointing 3 new board directors to the school board. And so within 10 days, they will be gone, and the new people will be swearing in.
So why actually this election attracted nationwide attention? Mm-hmm. And what's the implication of this recall? So this is what some of the insights we would like to share with you.
Right, yeah.
Because in San Francisco, this is, it's the deep, deep blue city and county, right? Everybody would agree. But actually, this recall election transcends the party line because in San Francisco, mostly are liberals. It's ambiguously that more than the Republicans or conservative voters wanted them to be removed. And these 3 board members are pretty left-leaning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just to give some example, especially the San Francisco parents and voters, why they wanted to recall them, majorly because of their far leftist ideology and agenda. For example, largely people want them out because of mainly for 3 reasons. One is the voters feel that the board failed to come up with a reopening school plan, even as numerous other schools across the United States have opened. And San Francisco School Board only reopened elementary last April and did not return to full-time in-person learning for all K-12 until fall of 2021 last year. And even the Democratic-led city government of San Francisco had enough with the board so that it filed a lawsuit against both the Unified School District and its board in February 2021 for failing to come up with a reopening plan, even, as numerous other schools across the United States have reopened. And also due to its lacking of the reopening plan, it just kept dropping students so that it had a budget hole of about $125 million.
Mm-hmm. And the second reason is the social justice issue at the expense of the education. So the school board focused on the leftist politics rather than the education. In 2019, the board voted to cover a mural depicting slavery and the Native Americans at the George Washington High School. Yeah, it was quite a bit of news locally here. And that move would cost taxpayers between $600,000 to $1 million to remove that mural. And the San Francisco Superior Court judge overturned the school board's decision last year, saying that you don't do that, so the mural will stay after. In January 2021, the board voted to rename 44 schools, including like Abraham Lincoln and the George Washington High School. They want to remove Lincoln and Washington with some other names, okay? And so instead of focusing on reopening schools, and parents are really, really mad, okay? And also this renaming thing also triggered a nationwide backlash and become a renaming controversy. So finally, the school board voted to reverse its school renaming plan in April of last year.
Yeah, even the people who generally kind of support the renaming movement, one of the people I interviewed saying these board members, they don't even know about the some accurate facts of those history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they wanted to rename all these 44 school names. Mm-hmm. So even the liberal people just are really fed up by it. And the number 3 major reason that people want them to be removed from job is because they feel that the board members open race bias, especially against the Asian community. In the fall of 2020, the school board voted to eliminate the academic performance-based admission process to Lower High School, which is one of the best high school in the city and even in the West Coast. It's very well-known actually nationwide. So in fact, Lower High School's admission process wasn't even 100% merit-based because of a lawsuit back in the 1980s. It's between San Francisco NAACP versus the SF Unified School District lawsuit. In 1980, there was a consent decree settlement to put a limit to the percentage of students from a particular ethnic groups that can enroll at this school. So this cap means that to get into lower high, Chinese American students have to score much higher than any other ethnic groups because they represented so-called disproportionate share of students. So in fact, non-white students make up 75% of Lower's student body, but the board president Lopez claimed grades and the test scores were biased towards white and Asians, so that she can justify the canceling of the academic-based admission completely. And the other board member, who is also recalled Collins, she tweeted that merit is inherently racist, designed and...
It's a racist construct.
Yeah, it's a racist construct designed and centered on white supremacist framing. So later on, people uncovered that she actually made some pretty racially charged tweets from 2016, where she blamed Asian Americans for using white supremacist thinking to assimilate and get ahead.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wow, we use white supremacist thinking. I have to try very, very hard to understand what that means.
Yeah, so besides the color, they they initially say it's the color of the skin, but then for Asians, they say we use the, I don't know, how to understand it. But in any case, so this recall really had an implication on this aspect, is that the parents' power can really, the parents really showed their dissatisfaction with their children's publication, and they really have the power, which also signals that the voter frustration on this key issue is just so hot and extend beyond Republicans and the conservatives.
Yeah, and Asian American actually led this recall campaign. The recall, unlike many others in the city, appeared to be galvanize Asian voters. Okay, naturally, because Asian people really care about education. The recall campaign is a grassroots movement led by Asian Americans. Many of them are lifelong liberals, including some first-generation immigrants who had never been politically active until last year. So one of the recall organizers is an immigrant from India, a data scientist and founder and CEO of a tech company, Siva Rush. And you interviewed
Yeah,
him.
I actually interviewed his wife, Autumn, if you remember, just maybe a week ago.
Right.
So both of them in the tech area, they moved to San Francisco in 2020 and have 2 of the 5 children enrolled in the San Francisco Unified School District since that time. But they had a comparison between the other 3 children because Autumn had a shared custody. So the other 3 enrolled in Los Altos School District, which opened the school much earlier. So they just saw the difference, saw, really the children are lagging behind because of the distant learning. So they initiated this recall effort. And also one of the they call him the super volunteer, Kit Lam, who is an immigrant from Hong Kong. He's father of 2 children in the school district. He had worked for Kit worked for the school district for 12 years as a fraud investigator. So he personally saw his 10th grader son stopped being outgoing and struggle academically and emotionally during the school closure. And his own position at the school district also enabled him to see how much other schools in the district have fallen behind. So he decided to do something to save the kid's life. Lam joined the recall campaign from the start when there's just no money and only volunteers like him. So single-handedly, he collected thousands of signatures and also made an effort to communicate to Chinese audience during the signature collection phase. So, with the immigrants' perseverance and the work ethics, coupled with later on they have some donation to be able to pay for signature collection, they were able to collect more than enough signatures to put the recall on the ballot.
And the Chinese American Democratic Club also urged the voters to support the recall. And so what's the result what's the fallout of this recall? Jenny Lan, she's a San Francisco school board member, and she was not subject to the recall. Then she said in a statement that the election was a wake-up call. With this evening's election, we change course. We now must move forward to focus our energy back on our students and our schools. Well, sounds like so straightforward, right? Don't you?
Right, and so she wasn't recalled because she's
too new.
Relatively new.
Okay.
Was just
the
recently.
rule doesn't apply to him.
Right.
To her.
But it seems like the recall election is a wake-up call, and also it attracted nationwide attention, as we mentioned. Even White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked about it, but at today's press conference, but she declined to comment directly on this recall result, but emphasized Biden's support for the opening school. She said, "We understand where parents are coming from when they want schools to be open as well. And the president recognized the mental health impact it has on kids for them not to be open."
And the House Republican leader, Kevin McCarthy, who's also a representative from California, and he's from Central California district. So he sent a statement drawing a direct connection between the school board recall in San Francisco and Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin's victory in Virginia last November. And McCarthy said last night's results followed the clear message Virginia parents sent last November, an outcry that the House Republicans have heard from constituents across the nation. And parents deserve a say, and the children deserve a quality education. McCarthy went on, he said, parents are standing up to have their votes heard, their voice heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a lot of like people from both sides of the aisles actually see this board recall as a bellwether for the midterm election. One of the Republican consultant in California so actually so they both from the left and the right saying that there's no unusual circumstances to explain away voters in one of the farthest left cities in the US removing liberals from their school board and by a landslide. So the Federalist reported it will signal that the Democratic Party's policies have been so unpopular that even left voters cannot take it anymore. And it says it also gives indication of how much Asian Americans, traditionally solid supporters of the Democratic Party, are shifting away from the party, since Asian Americans are the fastest growing racial and ethnic groups in the nation. Such a political shift will heavily influence America's future.
And Washington Examiner wrote this, San Francisco recall forecasts gloomy 2022 for Democrats nationally. A Republican operative in Sacramento, the capital of the state, Rob Stutzman, he said the liberal backlash against the progressive wokeness is real.
Yeah, so it's kind of really reflect from the recent poll, the most recent poll from Los Angeles Times, done by the Institute of Governmental Studies of UC Berkeley, which is kind of left-leaning. Biden's job approval rating has fallen to 47%, with 48% disapproving. Biden won California in 2020 with 63.5%. Vice President Kamala Harris' rating are even worse, 38%, with 46% disapproving. And she was a senator from California and also former state attorney general. Mm-hmm. And the Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, who survived a recall last September and is up for re-election this year, he also seen his job approval rates sinking to 48%. 66% of voters in the state say he is doing a poor or very poor job handling homelessness. 51% saying the same about his handling of rising crime. 43% say that his same thing of handling of education.
Mm-hmm. And Democratic strategist in California said, I have seen polls across the state that show the issue of the day is homelessness, and the crime is creeping up there. And he said the voters are pissed about what they are seeing every day.
So what are the Washington Examiner's kind of right-leaning, but how about Washington Post? It also reported on the San Francisco recall, saying that this recall school board member seen as too focused on racial justice. And it says voters in San Francisco overwhelmingly ousted 3 school board members from their position Tuesday in a move fueled by failure of reopening school last year and unpopular action aimed at advancing racial justice. So it says the recall election is the latest signal that voters, even in a liberal city like San Francisco, have grown frustrated with public schools during the coronavirus pandemic. It continues saying that education, particularly its struggles with virus measures and racial justice, is expected to play a prominent role in election across the country this year. The results in San Francisco are another warning sign for the Democrats.
Yeah, and right after the Virginia governor election, a centralist Democratic think tank political consultant Brian Stryker, he sent a memo warned that the Democrats are vulnerable on education, particularly as it relates to the perception that they favored school closings. And he wrote that we should expect this backlash to continue, especially as it plays into another way where parents and the communities feel like they are losing control over their schools, in addition to the basics of even being able to decide if they are open or not. Well, this is interesting development, right?
Yeah, so as we are seeing how this deepest blue state, the city in the deep blue state, how people, when the issue comes really to impact their own, and especially to their future, the kids, people are starting to wake up.
Yeah. As you can see that this is a Chinese American hosted show, and this very recall actually has a lot to do with the Chinese American, especially Chinese American parents who just think enough is enough. If you recall, actually back in Virginia, also Chinese parents were leading the effort there, right?
Yeah, but I think the one significant thing is actually, for example, the Chinese American Democratic Club in San Francisco. It's it consists mostly the first or the second generation Chinese Americans or Asian Americans, not the new immigrants actually. So, but these Chinese Americans, they born the raised here in the United States. Actually, for some reason, they mostly used to be supporting the Democratic Party and the liberals. But in this school board recall, they really shift the gear.
Yeah.
So that's something I think it's very, worth noticing.
Yeah, and if you met those parents, they would tell you that this is also reported in the media, saying that if we can do this in San Francisco, you can do this anywhere in this country, because this is ultra left city, right?
Right.
And
so I think people see some of the issues. It really it's nonpartisan, right? It's really for everyday people.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what do you think? Just leave your comment there and let us know how you think. Is this encouraging news, or you think that's just okay? Okay. As you type up your comment there, and let's move on to the next piece of news. Quite surprising to me. Okay. Department of Defense spent nearly $2 billion.
Yeah.
On something that doesn't seem like they should.
But it's only half, less than half of it. They should be, if they just keep the promise, or the Biden administration wants to keep its words, actually they need to spend at least another $2 billion.
Yeah, but we haven't talked about the issue yet. Let's go to the square one.
Okay, so actually, the Biden administration just recently announced to distribute 1 billion at-home testing kits to Americans for free, expecting to spend $4 billion on the shipping of the first 500 million testing kits to the United States households. If you have ordered this testing kit, you should have received it. Actually, I did, because once the news out, the people, my colleague actually told me, and I saying, okay, I'll just order it from the website, and the USPS just delivered it last week. However, a lot of people don't know, including I didn't know in the first place, was that where those testing kits came from and how it was ordered. Okay, so it turned out that the Department of Defense on January 13th announced that in a coordination with the Department of Health and Human Services has awarded contracts to 3 companies to purchase total 380 million COVID-19 self-testing kits. So that includes the 3 companies include Abbott Rabbit DX in Orlando, Florida, and another one called the iHealth Lab in Mountain View, California. And the third one is the Roche Diagnostics Corporation, very famous one in Indiana. So on its release, it only just listed the companies and their locations and saying this is part of the White House plan to deliver 500 million free testing kits nationwide. And the next day, in the next couple of days, the Defense Department official announced how much U.S. will spend on those testing kits. So to the company iHealth Labs in California, it awarded a contract of $1.3 billion. To Roche, they got $340 million. And Abbott, they got $306 million. And according to Bloomberg News, the administration has signed contracts to buy a total 420 million testing kits from 7 companies. So the other 4 businesses seem to be in the United States. They do not manufacture them because they do have the testing kits stored in warehouse. And then on January 26th, the Department of Defense sent out another press release saying that they has awarded a contract modification to one of the 3 big companies. It's iHealth Lab to procure another additional over 104 million over-the-counter testing kits to support the White House's free testing kit plan. So again, we noticed that the major contract winner, iHealth Lab, it says it's in California, Mountain View, California, in Silicon Valley. But it turned out to be its American subsidiary of a China-based medical device manufacturer called Andong Health Corporation Limited. But on Department of Defense statement, twice, it only listed as located in Mountain View, California.
They didn't mention the China origin, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, so what do you think? It's just they don't know, or they chose not to just list it?
Yeah, and this company in China, I will share with you, just shortly, how they just make profits on those contracts. And it's noteworthy that I should mention how this federal procurement effort was done. It was led by the Defense Department's Joint Program Executive Office for Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Defense in partnership with Department of Defense Assisted Acquisition Cell, which is the Army Contracting Command, and the Human Health Service Office of the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Responses. Mm-hmm. So you can see, it's a crucial agencies who made this procurement. And according to this Chinese company, Andong Health, which is located in Tianjin, about less than 90 miles from Beijing, right? So the iHealth Lab, its subsidiary in California, got the news on January 15th that its COVID-19 antigen rapid testing kit has obtained emergency authorization use from FDA. And coincidentally, on December 5th last year, the United States Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, on a press conference, urging the federal government should fund free at-home COVID-19 testing kits to people. Let's show that video.
Today I am urging a surge of these at-home tests. They should be distributed to community health centers They should be distributed by mobile vans and given free when a person wants a test. The more testing we have and the quicker we have, the better we can deal with Omicron.
Look at this is the testing kit.
Let's get them out quickly because it'll cost a lot less to get people tested now and stop Omicron in its tracks than it will be to delay and let it spread and spread and spread.
Okay, so this video I took it from Reuters. I think it's a fair use, but it gives particularly this a close-up of the eye health lab product, the testing kit. Okay, and then the CCTV state-run, the Chinese Communist government's state-run TV station, CCTV Channel 2, reported Chuck Schumer's press conference and showed this video, the close-up, and then Anden Health put it on its WeChat account. So you can see how big of an advertisement it is.
How did our Senate Majority Leader make an advertisement just like that?
Yeah.
For a China-produced product.
Yeah. Do you think it's just normal for him to hold it on there and really show it? You know. So Eye Health Lab has also received many United States contracts on the state level. The company in early January said that it's been working with 20 state governments and other agencies and organizations in an effort to make at-home testing more accessible. So that includes a $1.28 billion with the Army Contracting Command on behalf of the DHS. In New York, it has secured $120 million of a contract with the State Department of Health, in addition to $65.3 million in last December. In the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, it secured a contract for over $148 million. So, and in California, I tried to find out, but has not had the time to really locate it, but it has 20, states, working with 20 states. So California probably is one of them as well. So let's just go go diving deep a little bit of this company. So this company, Anden Health, at the sum of the last 12 years.
1 quarter.
Listen to that. So its 2021 annual performance, at that, the report I found is, the report has not come out yet, but it expected to achieve a net profit attributable to net profit of $900 million, which is 1.2 billion yuan in Chinese dollar, which is an increase of around like 270% to almost 400% than previous year. Okay, and mainly because of the company's new coronavirus antigen self-testing kit products in the United States market sales performance in 2021. It says it will be the best single quarterly profit, which will exceed 7 times of the sum of the past 12 years.
Wow.
Its stock, as you can imagine, it surged. Anden Health on January 13th announced its U.S. subsidiary has signed this procurement contract with the U.S. Army Contracting Command. So the next day, its stock closed at 75.28 yuan per share, which is a new record high. The company's share price rose more than 440% last year, up almost 52% since this year. In today's news on the China's Security Times, it says that Anden Health announced today that according to the delivery announcement in the contract with the U.S. Army, as of February 15th, local time in the U.S., the company's U.S. subsidiary has delivered a total of 177 million copies of eye health kits product to the counterparty, which is the U.S. Army Contracting Management Command, abbreviated as ACC. And it says ACC has made cumulatively payment of US dollar of $465 million to the company's subsidiary. And all of the above payments has been received in February 16th, approximately $2.95 billion RMB. And the performance of the above contract will have a positive impact on the company's operation income and operation profit in 2022, as the Security Times reported. Well, actually, there is a twist. Okay, in China, when things goes really good, there was always usually have a twist. On the eve of February 14th, the company Anden Health released an announcement that the company recently received the decision on administrative supervision measures and the decision on supervisory TOC measures from the Tianjin Securities Regulatory Bureau for its chairman of board Liu Yi and the secretary Wu Tong. So Wei, explain for our audience, what does that mean?
The
supervisory TOC measure.
Wait a second. Supervisory.
They are being asked to talk by the Tianjin Security Agency, right? So when in China, you are asked to talk, it means you are in trouble. So why is that? The authorities said that in this company's announcement in early January regarding the experimental report on the performance of the new testing kit, Omicron, which is the testing kit that United States has procured, the company only disclosed a part of its successful experimental results, but not all of the experimental results, and the disclosure information was incomplete. So how incomplete? Just put it in a simple term, the company explained that the report they actually submitted to NIH. Okay, this is a familiar agency that is show up again. So somehow NIH is administering this procurement process as well. So the report they submitted to NIH showed the iHealth COVID-19 antigen rapid test detected 100% of the active Omicron virus sample with a maximum CT value of 21.59 in the experiment. I'm not quite sure this CT value, but it's a medical term. But just remember, it just in its report saying that the test kit can detect 100% of the Omicron virus. But then it later explained that the actual experimental result is it can test 100% for the CT value of equal or less than 21.59. Okay, but for CT value 22.86, it can be only detected 60%. And for CT value more than 23.8, it completely undetectable. So in its report to NIH, it only listed the first part, how it can detect 100% of the Omicron virus variant. So because of that, that's according to the reports, right? So the Tianjin Security Regulatory Bureau decided to take supervision and management measure to talk to these two leaders of the company. They believe that they are responsible for the integrity of the information disclosed in the report. So how did the company responded? It responded that it was only because the regulator felt that the company's disclosure was not complete in early stage and that the company mainly did not want to make the full announcement, don't want to make it too complicated and did not need to over-interpret it, they believe. But according to some of the news reports from China, it's not the first time that Anden Health has played word games with information disclosure. So it showed how it really kind of boasting its contract with the United States government, so that it really made its stock price surge in last November. Actually, in November, the company's stock received a 9 limit up. And in December, it again got a 12 limit up. So the stock price just keep rising until January 18th, it started to go down.
Okay, I just want to provide some backdrop to the company like this, the company
Enden Health.
Enden Health, yeah. Actually, with more than $1 trillion at its disposal, China's sovereignty wealth fund has over 33% of the world's total sovereignty, sovereign wealth fund asset. So since 5 years ago, 2017, much of this money has been flooding into the U.S. biotech companies as part of the CCP's Made in China 2025. So the industrial policy especially identified biotech as a strategic industry entitled to the government's financial support. So consequently, Beijing has allocated $100 billion for investment in this sector since 2017. So in the year of the next year, 2018, China invested $5.1 billion in the U.S. biotech companies, which is 25% increase over the previous year. In 2019, half of China's investment in the United States was in health, pharmaceuticals, and the biotechnology sectors. Let's skip 2020, which is the pandemic year. In the 2021, the number of filing for FDA approval by Chinese drug makers was the highest it has ever been. Okay, and then there's a California. There's a company called Beijing. Okay, Beijing, B-E-I. Jing is just like a G-N-E. Okay, that's a San Mateo-based company, but actually it's a Chinese is company that came from China. Okay, so they acquired a company called Complete Genomics, which is a California-based company. Hear me out. That holds the generic information of U.S. citizens. They were bought. Okay, and then they were bought by this Beijing Genomics Institute, which is BGI. And much of the CCP's infiltration of the U.S. bio and medical industries is aided by actually U.S. citizens and even the government, which is the example that Kathy just showed you. The Enden Health Corporation just received $1.3 billion contract from the U.S. Army Contracting Command. Can you believe that? So anyway, so United States is expect to blacklist a number of the Chinese biotech firms. I hope they do faster in the near future. Meanwhile, numerous Chinese biotech firms are operating in the United States while gathering the genetic data of the American citizens. Well, so in keeping with the CCP's military-civil fusion strategy, the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, is involved in biotech research to develop bioweapons that target specific ethnic groups. And this is really hideous agenda. But it's being, it's being carried out by just this kind of open and biotech investment and biotech ventures. So this is basically what we face. All right. And just a little backdrop here about that, the Enden company. Remember, they have a product called iHealth. And
the subsidiary.
Yeah, let's roll the timeline a little bit, back a little bit. In the December of the last year, just 3 months ago, Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, that's this piece of news, he reportedly, secretly, signed a deal estimated to be worth more than $175 billion, with Chinese officials allegedly promised Apple would do its part to develop China's economy and biotechnological prowess. So Tim Cook reportedly forged a 5-year agreement with the CCP, which has not been previously reported. And during the first of the series of in-person visits Tim Cook made to China in 2016 to quash a sudden burst of the regulatory actions against Apple's business. All right. So the source said that before the meetings, Apple executives were scrambling to salvage the company's relationship with the Chinese government, which believed that the company was not contributing enough to the local economy. This is also, always the excuse. Okay, they use this to just rein in any foreign companies. So if you want to make money in China, make our money, and then you have to contribute to our country. The typical rhetoric. So Apple announced the investment of $1 billion in that trip in the Didi Chuxing, which is the China's Uber. So shortly after, Cook, along with Apple COO Jeff Williams and the government affairs lead Lisa Jackson, allegedly met senior government officials in Zhongnanhai, the central compound of the CCP, Central Committee. And then reportedly, he promised to use more components from Chinese suppliers in Apple's device. And he signed deals with Chinese software firms to collaborate on the technology with the Chinese universities and directly invested in Chinese tech companies. And he also promised to invest many billions of dollars more than his current expenditures in China, including on new retail stores, research and development facilities, and the renewable energy projects. See, money really, how to say,
yeah, but because
bring a lot of people to their knees.
Yeah, because this company, iHealth Lab, under the Anden Health, a good part of its business are related to the Apple, the iPhone, iPad, things like that. So whether it's directly related to the contract that Tim Cook signed with the Chinese government, we don't know, but these are all related information. Yeah.
Okay, so as the how to say, those businesses are making those type of deals, secret deals, and we keep exposing them, right? Time goes by, and when those things are all exposed, then it's hard for those secret deal to take effect. And in the meantime, just think about that. Today we told you that the Department of Defense, claimed that they spent $1.3 billion on the California company.
Yeah.
And no, it's a Chinese company. The parent company is a Chinese company.
Yeah, I don't, would you think they don't know it's a Chinese subsidiary? You can make a guess, but I think people would be disappointed to see how, the taxpayer money is spent on this type of company. And in addition, actually, I don't know, it's happening in other states of the country as well. In California now, people can just go to those drugstores to get a free N95 masks. And where does those N95 masks came from? My coworker said she went, to a drugstore nearby her home, and she can get like 3 of them without any cost. But she said those N95 masks without any packaging or indicating which company manufactured it, where it's come from. So people she was just suspecting whether it's also from China. So.
Yeah. So the CCP they send us the virus and then ask us to pay for the mask and all the gears. It's just okay. The chef said, "Are you coming to CPAC this year? If so, please find Moms for America, where they teach liberty begins in the home. The President Kimberly Fletcher would love to speak with you. 5,000-year leap book. Sure.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. So
Hi,
yeah,
Chef. Yes, we're going.
Yeah, if you can just send us an email, so to connect us. Yeah. So we'll just you can see the email on our screen. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And also, I think the last twist of this company I just shared. I don't know how way you take it. I think on one hand, this company did not really disclose full information. If it seems it's the fact, how come our federal agencies just went ahead and awarded such a big contract to them? Then second thought is maybe it would be like a second Alibaba, right? Because they are making a lot of money now. So the Chinese Communist government starting to find its fault and they're trying to do something to restrict it. It's also possible. What do you think?
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm replying the chat's
Okay.
question. She's asking what is the email?
Oh, email. Okay. Yeah, on the screen it said, but I will just type it here for you.
Sorry about that. I missed Kathy's question.
My question is, how this company is just now regulated. It just happened a couple of days ago, right? They are being regulated by the local security bureau. I think one possibility is they truly, had kind of did not fully disclose the information, right? But for that, I think it's also United States government's
what's on their mind?
Yeah, what's on how could they just
basic due diligence.
Award such a big contract to the company not fully disclosed its information? But on the second thought is, could it also be possible? It's just like another Alibaba or Didi Chuxing, is that the Chinese Communist government starting to regulate it because they are making a lot of money now.
Yeah, make a government feel that they are walking out of the line. So anyway, so I think with the information today, I think you should just write to your congressional representatives and asking them what's going on here. Okay, spend $1.3 billion.
They're gonna spend more because it's only less than half of the 1 billion testing kits.
Yeah.
There, so I don't know in our audience, have you already? You ordered? Did you receive them? I did, so that because I just wanted to see how it looks like, right? And it turned out to be, like this.
And Mark Summer, you said, please leave a like for this great content. Yeah, thank you, Mark. Yeah, please, if you can.
Yeah, because our channel just kept being deleted, the subscribers.
Yeah.
So if you can, just make sure you subscribe again.
Someday I think we should show people that what's the trend line of our subscription. It's unbelievable. Starting certain day, everything is strictly flat, completely flat, and the flat under the water. So they chip away some subscribers every single day. You think about this show, right? Different day, different rhythm, different type of issues, and the subscription always stay at flat line. By statistics, it's impossible. Anyway, but good that we have you with us. And,
so please share with, you can send us your email so that we can keep in contact. We haven't really doing a lot of emailing because, we are just very short-handed, but just in case, so that we can keep in contact if anything happens. And also I see Ting said, I finally get back into my Safe Chat account.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is another venue so that you can always keep in contact, like follow our channel.
Yep.
So please. I also just copied some information on the Safe Chat channel because people are asking Louis about the way to combat the virus, and Louis shared that with me before, so I'm just providing here, but probably it's not good to put on the the YouTube. So please look in. Yeah, and take care. We'll see you on Friday.
Yes. All right.
All right. Good night.
Good night.